Happy anniversary, Robin. It is our 6-year wedding anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Very much. Thank you. Should have said that sooner.
At school. Yeah, she's not even going to listen this far into the episode.
That's what editing's for. You can edit and put it at the beginning.
Yeah, well,
yeah, she's not even going to listen to the beginning, I don't think.
Yeah, well, it's okay. It just became a TikTok cut.
Hey, Upper East Siders and all you scandal-loving listeners out there. You just tuned into the Non-Judging Breakfast Pod, where the coffee is strong, the waffles are fresh, and the gossip is hotter than ever. My name is Leaf, and I'm your seasoned Gossip Girl veteran.
And I'm Steve. You're a newbie. You're a greenhorn. I don't know, Leaf. What do you call the Season 2 Gossip Girl newbie?
I'm not sure, but how you doing on bouncing the ball on your knee thing?
I mean, I'm still learning new tricks every day on the soccer field, I guess.
Sounds good.
So here's the deal, folks. Leaf has been a fan of Gossip Girl since the beginning, and I'm watching for the first time. And together, we're your dynamic duo, bringing you all of the glamour and drama and sometimes questionable fashion choices of this iconic 2007 series.
That's right. Each week, we're going to go through one episode at a time. We're going to analyze all the storylines, the obscure references, parallels, and of course the couture catastrophes. Also, we're going to take a look at fandom and stories behind the scenes along the way.
And since we're all about inclusivity here at the Non-Judging Breakfast Pod, there's always a seat for you at our non-judging breakfast table. So go ahead and grab your coffee, a mimosa, or some of Nate and Chuck's special medicine if it's that kind of day, and let's go ahead and get into this.
And we are not alone today, Steve. We are here with a guest.
Yes, hello. We are here with Michael Ross.
Yes, he is the forever host from the Farm to Fable podcast, as well as the RPG Academy.
Hey, that's me.
Very cool.
Hey, how's it going, Michael?
I'm doing very well. Thank you both for having me on today. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thanks for coming on the show. So I'm going to ask you something we ask all our guests. What is your history with Gossip Girl?
So the sum and total of my experience is the one episode I watched for your show 3 times.
Nice. You watched it 3 times. Wow. Yeah. That's impressive.
Honestly, it's a really informative episode, though.
From this episode, who are your favorite and least favorite characters?
Eric is my favorite. He is precious boy and should be protected at all costs. Yes. And no matter what happens, I hope at the end of the show, he is in a good place. Everyone else is to lesser degree. I mean, Dan's obviously, so again, I have no history with Gossip Girl, but Dan to me was the Rory Gilmore. Is he like the person who's not wealthy, but he's hanging out with the wealthy kids?
Yeah, but I mean, not wealthy is relative.
Right. I mean, not like billionaire. It seemed like he was on slightly lower status than everybody else.
Yes. They're Park Avenue princesses, and he lives in a loft in Dumbo. You know.
Okay.
You know, his loft only costs like $1 million, $2 million. Their places cost $50 million.
Gotcha. Okay. So I felt like obviously he was sort of almost like the audience character, like he's the most normal kind of person.
The self-insert for the writer Josh Schwartz.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
he's meant to be what you're saying.
Okay. So I connected with Dan a little bit for that. I hated Chuck from the moment I saw him. I continue to hate him every moment of this episode. And Blair, I hate her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chuck. So I've listened to a few episodes of Farm to Fable, and one of them I heard you talking about the D20 cruise. Did you actually go on it or not?
So I did not go on it, but I am signed up for the next one. So again, I've been doing podcasting for role-playing games for like 13 years now. It's a big part of who I am. I even run a small gaming convention myself. And a couple of my friends are professional GMs, and they went on the D20 cruise last year, which is like basically it's a cruise completely separate to itself. And then this group hosts like a small gaming convention within the cruise. So they are connected, but not the same. Like the cruise line isn't putting the convention on, but they host it. So anyway, so I'm going next year in April, and a friend of mine who's a podcaster with me on the show, and our wives, they're my wife's not a gamer at all. His wife is some, but they're not going to do the gaming stuff. It's just he and I. So I will be going on the D20 cruise next year. I think it's in April. So I'm very excited about that. Plus, it's a cruise, but it's also like role-playing games together. So like awesome stuff.
Yeah, I've been looking at it. It's definitely seems interesting. We're both big gamers.
Yeah.
I was
That's how we know each other.
The episode you sent me to listen to is like an example. I noticed your guest at the time, you were talking about playing D&D together. I was like, oh, I didn't even realize that you guys were all gamers too, because that's like my wheelhouse, obviously, even more so than Farm to Fable really is the role-playing games, though Farm to Fable is my more active show currently.
That's actually the same with us. That we met playing Pathfinder. We both, I played D&D. I played several times a week.
Nice.
But also, I want to hear more about your gaming convention. Where and when do you do that?
So it is in Dayton, Ohio, each year in November. It's usually the first or second week. It just kind of depends on schedules and availabilities and that kind of stuff. So this year it is the 8th, 9th, and 10th. It is called a Catacon, which is an objectively terrible name. No one understands what it means. Everyone assumes it's Arcadicon, like their brain just puts the R in there, so they think it's like video games. But it's not. My original show is called the RPG Academy.
Right.
So it's a shortened version of the RPG Academy convention, and it just kept getting shortened down to, and now it's a Catacon. So once you know that, it makes total sense. But if you just see it on a board somewhere, no. But yeah, it's like, we're hoping to get like 600 people this year, very focused on RPGs, and specifically not the big two. Like, I love D&D, but most of our games are not D&D or Pathfinder. They're GURPS and Savage Worlds and Numenera and indie games that haven't been released yet, Dread, like you name it. If you've seen it somewhere, we probably have it at one of our tables.
Yeah, I'm in a Delta, what's it called? Delta Green game. Yeah, we've only done, I think, 3 sessions so far, but I'm in one of those. And I've played a bunch of other systems too. I've played 7th Sea back many years ago, Deadlands, Weird West, those games as well.
I love those. A little more polyamorous than I am. I'm kind of a one system kind of guy.
Yeah, I like to dabble. I've been playing D&D since I was like 12. So for me, that's been like 37 years. But I really enjoy trying different games, and every game I play, I steal something from. So even when I run D&D, it's sort of like a hodgepodge of all these other things that I've kind of melded together. So I think it makes me a better game master for D&D when I play other games. So I'll play anything at least once.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
I agree. I just don't have the time. So if I'm gonna play what I know I like.
Yeah. Well, and again, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that as well. I would like to quickly mention, if I can, I know this episode won't be out till after the announcement, but I actually wrote my first game last year. I kickstarted it, got it published, and it's up for an ENnie, which is kind of like the premier, awards recognition for RPG games. Not necessarily streams and podcasts. There's a bunch of those that have come out recently, but as far as like actual books, games, maps, supplements, the ENnies are kind of the thing. And I'm nominated in 2 categories. It's an open voting, but again, this won't be out till too late to vote. But it's still very exciting that the first game I ever actually wrote and published is up for an ENnie for best rules. I'm very proud of it. It's a GM-less game about bad action movies and uses nothing but D12s, which I think is objectively the best polyhedral to roll.
I'm sold. You got me.
So Action 12 Cinema, anywhere games are sold, you should be able to find it. PDF, physical copies, it's out in the world. But hopefully it will be an ENnie winning game by the time this comes out instead of just simply ENnie nominated.
Yeah. Make sure to send us any links or anything that you want us to.
Yeah, we'll share it.
We'll share it when we're posting everything from the episode too.
Absolutely. I would happily do that. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely.
And before we get into the episode, a little sad bookkeeping today. Last night, I was not a huge fan of the show, but since it is part of the genre, rest in peace, Shannon Doherty, who lost her battle with cancer.
Yeah, very sad.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. OG queen of this genre too, 90210 and Charmed.
Yeah, we were actually debating before the show if you were a fan of Charmed, because I know you're a fan of Smallville. So
I have definitely watched a few, like handful of episodes, but it's not something I watch regularly. Now, Buffy, Supernatural, I'm there, but Charmed just didn't hit.
Yeah, fair.
The number of times people have said, "Wait, why are you doing Gossip Girl and not a Buffy podcast?" To me, that comes up a lot because everyone knows that I'm a huge Buffy fan.
Oh yeah.
Which unfortunately we don't. Unfortunately, we don't have Michelle Trachtenberg in this episode. for now, having a Buffy fan on, she makes appearances.
She's a recurring role on the show.
Nice. So I had
She's
not okay. Never. Okay.
Well, I mean, she's hugely popular in fandom, but she's not.
Okay.
At least her first stint on the show, she was terrible.
Okay. So I have a couple like general questions, but I don't know if we better ask them at the top or like as we go through the episode. Do you have a preference?
Whatever you want, go for it.
Okay, so I understand through cultural osmosis that Gossip Girl is an actual character that somehow has information about the lives of these people, but how much is that actually public knowledge? Because like every time there was a voiceover, I kept asking, well, is this information that is being given to the public? Because no one seems to know the things that Gossip Girl is commenting on. And I was like,
so there's two different things. So first of all, it is Gossip Girl is a person, but it was not planned in the writing until the very end of the show. So that's one thing to take into account. But also there's a difference between like this is like way ahead of its time with like social media. Like there's blasts that go out and everyone sees them on their phone. But then also Kirsten Bell is also just doing like an omnipresent narrator.
Okay.
So you kind of have to decipher between what is
you just got to
public
go
and
right, because that was my kind of my question.
Lines.
Is it seemed like and I did recognize Kristen Bell's voice. Again, I'm also Veronica Mars, one of my favorite shows. So I recognize the voice, but I was like, no one seems to be reacting to this information if that is somehow getting public. So I was a little confused about that. And then
usually when it's just narration, that's just narration. When it's getting out to the public, it's when like you see them like looking at their phones or their computers.
Okay.
Something.
Yeah.
So then my other question is, was that part of the fandom, like in the scene where V shows Blair the picture, like she has Blackmail photo? As a watcher, should I have been like, oh, is V Gossip Girl? Like, is that something that throughout the show constantly you're reevaluating who you think it is?
Can I take this one?
Yeah, go for it.
So this is kind of my take on it. As the guy watching for the first time, that when I episode 1, I was making my guesses and I was really kind of diving into that train of thought. And then the more I learned, the more I found out that there is no figuring it out because they didn't know.
Sure.
So as the person that dove in with that in mind. In fact, when that was what made Bridgerton so fun for me the first season. I watched Bridgerton and was like, it was 6 episodes in. I was like, that's who it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had that attitude, but then the more I found out that they don't even know who Gossip Girl is until the last season or the last few episodes.
Gotcha. Okay.
So any clues that they do give you are all not really given. It's all retro added, I guess.
Gotcha. They did have someone in mind at this point, but it changed because it was like, I think it was the New York Post put out an article like basically pointing out how it was that person. They got salty about that.
I got you.
Was it Chuck?
No, it was Eric.
Oh, okay.
That would have been my guess. It just this episode alone, I would have assumed it was Eric. Was the
younger brother? He's quiet, and he sees everything.
Yeah, I've been thinking Eric for a while. I've been thinking Eric ever since Eric said they even think I'm Gossip Girl.
Well, that was basically them. That was commenting on the article. That like at that point, the article like a few episodes back, they made like a comment like, "Oh, message boards were talking about. Oh, it's Eric. It's Eric."
Yeah, I mean, he is the obvious choice.
Yeah, the showrunner Josh Schwartz is famous for reading message boards about the shows.
All right, and then my last question is, how old are these characters supposed to be? I assume high school based off of what I saw, but
the main ones are now seniors this year in high school. Eric and Jenny are sophomores. Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm ready to go.
17, 18, and then 16. All right, so we are going to be talking about Season 2, Episode 7, Chuck in Real Life. It was original air date October 20th, 2008. It was based on Dan in Real Life. Came out the year earlier, 2007, with Steve Carell and Dane Cook.
Oh, yeah.
Underrated movie, I think.
I never saw it. I remember it coming out. I remember thinking Dane Cook's in a movie.
It's a cute little rom-com.
Yeah.
And Dane Cook plays the asshole younger brother.
Yeah.
Shocker.
It works for him.
I did see it. No, I'll be like I did.
This episode was written by Len K. Rosenfeld, back again. For last did School Lies, and before that Daredevil in first season. We both gave them like A-B range on that. Reversed on the episodes.
Yeah.
And it was directed by Tony Warmby, who previously did Victor Victrola, School Lies, and Woman on the Verge. So they're teaming Tony Warmby up and Len Rosenfeld here quite a bit.
Yeah. That first one, the Victor Victrola.
Yeah, we both gave that A. That's it. And so this is also the 7th episode again, and the show loves to do the numbers become significant. So 7th episode is always like a big Chuck and Blair episode.
Okay, that's interesting. Speaking of the directors, though, I was watching Pretty Little Liars the other day, and Norman Buckley was the director of the episode.
He's everywhere.
Yeah.
The Gossip Girl Wiki episode description reads, Vanessa blackmails Blair into helping with her cause, which leads to Blair seeking revenge along with Chuck. Meanwhile, Lily Bart throw an extravagant housewarming party with rebellious Serena is not ready to play by their rules. Also, Dan and Jenny discover a big secret Nate has been keeping from his friends.
Yeah. Poor Nate.
So I watched The Boys, so I could, every time Nate was on screen, I'm like, the beep! Like I just couldn't help it.
Yeah. I also saw The Boys before. Watching
big episode.
Yeah.
Have you seen the most recent episode yet?
Yes.
Oh man. What's this the octopus's name?
Yeah, I know.
He went dark again.
Yeah. Oh, real dark.
Yeah. So we begin Act 1 with a Gossip Girl monologue. There's nothing quite like autumn in New York, but it's not the only leaves to change. Something in the air brings out true colors in everyone. The episode opens at the Vanderbass penthouse for breakfast. It looks like Bart and Lily are laying down the law and this new family arrangement.
Yeah.
So how new is this? So I get that like Chuck is stepbrother, Bart stepfather. Was this pilot?
Bart and Lily got married in the season 1 finale. So this is what, the 7th episode. So but like Bart was not in every episode. He was away on business,
and
like,
Lily too.
Yeah, Lily's away for a few episodes as well at the beginning of the season.
So where they're at, is that Bart's penthouse that the other kids moved into?
No. It's actually Lily's penthouse.
Okay, so Bart and Chuck are now okay.
Yeah, because this is now Lily's 5th husband or 4th husband.
Yeah, I got the feeling that she has a lot of relationships that don't go well.
Yeah.
Very prevalent.
Yeah.
And the moment Chuck is on screen and he does this sort of like duck face, I hated him.
Yeah.
Yes, he is the Batman of the
He's the guy brooding in the corner.
Yeah.
The actor is British,
smoldering maybe.
So like he's kind of hiding his accent by whispering.
Yeah, I've always kind of felt that it's like.
And the first season he didn't do it as much, and the accent kind of came through a little bit. And then the second season he really just went into the whispering for the rest of the run of the show.
And Blue stealing it up.
Yeah. At the loft, Dan and Vanessa and Jenny are.
I did want to bring up that like dropping new rules on teenagers is just never a good idea.
Yeah.
It never works.
But at the same time, I thought they were all very reasonable. Like, one night a week we have dinner as a family. Don't go out on a school night. And 1 a.m. curfew on the weekend. Like, okay, nothing about that sounds outrageous to me.
And you're right. Like, none of it was outrageous.
But they're going from no rules to suddenly having rules.
Yeah. And it's also they're going from no rules to suddenly hearing rules from the new stepdad.
Yeah.
Which was really the thing that like who takes that well?
Oh, yeah, nobody.
You know?
Well, Eric does, because Eric is a good boy.
Eric. Well,
and I think Eric knows where it's coming from.
Yeah. Eric and Bart have a much different history, which again, it's you don't see a whole lot of it, but you see that they have a different history than Serena and Bart.
Mm-hmm.
And especially like there's a friendship that is brewing with Eric and Chuck, where Chuck is really being a really good big brother to Eric, who, again, like as they point out later in the episode, was raised by his sister.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, yeah.
Okay. Apologies if I keep interrupting you. You can tell me to shut up.
No, please. That's what you're here for.
At the loft, Dan and Vanessa and Jenny are discussing saving a historical bar, and also Dan is trying out for the soccer team.
Yeah. Why are teens saving a bar? You're a teenager.
It's something Vanessa would do, though.
It is. But there is a very big thread of teen drinking throughout this series.
Oh.
Like, they do just go to bars.
Yeah. I mean, there's one part where Chuck, I get his house. I think he's drinking scotch. Like, that's why I was like, how old is Carrie? He's like drinking scotch in a smoking jacket. Like, that is not, no 17-year-old does that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chuck does.
Except for Chuck Bass.
Except for Chuck Bass,
yeah.
And now this is a kid who does idolize people like Joe Kennedy, and, who does idolize these, like, smooth womanizer. He has an aesthetic he's trying to project.
And he sleeps with the staff at his father's hotel.
Yeah, and he sleeps with the staff at his father's hotel.
Now that sounds about right. Yeah.
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 Serena and Eric are walking down the street. Serena is putting all the blame on Bart for the new rules.
Who watches TV anymore? Who watches TV on a TV?
On TV anymore, right? Yeah. He's so centered. Like nothing bothers him. Like, he's an aspirational figure. Just like, let's go with the flow.
Yeah, he's the one character that's actually been in therapy on the show.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That makes total sense.
So at the beginning of the very first episode, Serena's coming back to New York because Eric had attempted suicide.
Oh, okay.
So that's like the inciting incident of the show.
I got you. Okay, yeah. So I had no context for that at all. But just within the show, I was like, I like this kid. He's got his stuff together.
And since you meet Eric, this is what you see. Is this really grounded, really like new perspective, and just, really just tries to see the best in everything. And he's the most mature person in the Vanderwoodson Bass family. Robin pointed that out later in the episode. Mm-hmm. Robin's my wife. I will be talking about her a lot. Oh. Happy anniversary, Robin. It is our 6-year wedding anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Very much. Thank you. Should have said that sooner.
At school. Yeah, she's not even going to listen this far into the episode.
I feel like that's what editing's for. You can edit and put it at the beginning.
Yeah, well,
yeah, she's not even going to listen to the beginning, I don't think.
Yeah, well, it's okay. It just became a TikTok cut.
At school, Nate tells Dan that the coach was impressed. The pair bump into Chuck, who trades insults with Dan. Chuck makes a weak attempt at reconciliation with Nate, who proceeds to just brush Chuck off in favor of Dan. Blair is, of course, waiting in the wings to rub it in Chuck's face.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the start of the series, Chuck and Nate were best friends, if you couldn't tell.
Okay, yeah, I had some context because I didn't know the timing of when that relationship fractured, but that seemed fairly clear.
It was basically just an episode or two ago. It was when they visited Yale together. They all visited Yale, and Chuck basically pointed these Skull and Bones guys to beat up Dan instead of Nate.
Oh,
and they were mad at Nate because his father screwed him out a bunch of money, because that's why Nate's now poor, because his dad was like a financial advisor who did like Ponzi schemes and.
Yeah, and now he's hiding out in Barbados.
Dominica.
Oh, Dominica. He's hiding out in Dominica.
It's a whole big.
Yeah. But so they've seized all the assets of that, including the house. That's why Nate is living like he is.
Squatting. Yeah. Okay.
I do love the line, "We're inevitable, Waldorf." Like, we're inevitable.
He's like Thanos. So I feel like Blair, I mean, I guess not to jump to it, but like on Stockwatch, she's down for me because it seems so clear that she's transparent. Like everything she's trying to do, everyone sees through her. Like, I don't think anyone at any point is ever confused about what her intentions are. And even in that scene where she's so much trying to put up this front that her and Chuck are over, I'm like, no, you have the hots for him. Like you clearly want this to happen, and you're trying to manipulate things just so that you like it's so clear from the beginning. And I don't know if that's supposed to be intentional or not, but or if it's good or bad writing. But I was like, okay, you definitely want this to happen.
Right. And there's an episode there's a scene a few episodes where she goes to Dan and Jenny's house to basically tell on Jenny for doing something, and Rufus's response to her is basically, you don't have my daughter's best interest at heart when you're coming to me telling me this thing. And her response is, yeah, well, that doesn't matter. Like, I'm telling you anyway. So everybody knows that if Blair is talking to you, she's probably scheming to either get something from you or get you. Yeah. Oh, and then we go to her disciplinary meeting.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I hated that. Out of everything that was said, I hated that more than anything. It felt so out of place. Like, I get the mean girl sort of thing, but the one lone fake tear on the girl, I just like, what is this in the middle of this episode?
Yeah. Well, Blair leaves Chuck to join the minions and castigating the underclassmen, but is interrupted by Vanessa. Vanessa blackmails Blair into helping with her Save a Bar project.
To be fair, this kind of clip, though, is like when she says a disciplinary hearing and then you flash to her berating a girl, it is very much in line with the show.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it was such a didn't skip a beat moment, honestly, because
it was almost just like a transition scene.
Yeah, because of the way this clique of girls behave other times throughout the show.
Right.
But
so my question is, was it that she wore pants when she should have worn tights, or was she wearing tights when they were supposed to be wearing pants? I need to know the context so I choose a side.
This is actually, could you ask that? Because this is actually becomes an iconic line in fandom. And it's the fact that she's, this wouldn't be a thing that it's become so popular now, but the problem is wearing tights just as pants, not underneath your skirt. Like,
oh, okay. So tights as pants is bad.
Yeah, because now it's yoga pants everywhere. So
exactly. Yeah.
But the Blair is on the modest side, at least in public.
Yeah.
And so so you don't wear tights as pants.
And they weren't, and that whole thing wasn't in fashion yet.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So, we didn't even talk about the Vanessa part of it all.
Oh yeah.
So Vanessa is suddenly hypocrite number one. They're definitely leading into her villain now because, they realize that everyone hates her already, so might as well just make her a full villain.
Yeah. Vanessa has always been the most self-righteous character on this show. And she's always, rubbing it in everyone's face how, being rich makes you a bad person and I'm a poor person. And so I'm a better person.
Out of the blue, she comes in and blackmails for just to help her little project.
Yeah, right. And also that's the worst blackmail. Like, everyone knows you broke up, but they don't know why. You're not blackmailing Blair. You're blackmailing the incestuous couple.
No, because the blackmail is that she was basically being cucked and she allowed it. She was going to allow it for a little while.
Yeah. I had no idea who those people were. I just didn't even try to figure it out.
At the beginning of season 2, Blair was dating a British lord who was also sleeping with his stepmother.
Oh.
Who was also sleeping with Nate.
Yes.
Huh.
And paying him money for it.
And paying him money for it.
I mean, it's a good gig if you can get it.
Yes.
He would have rathered Vanessa, oddly enough.
Serena is home reading, and Chuck taunts her about how the new rules don't apply to him. He said the new rules are just to close a business deal, and Serena's notoriety is working against her.
So one of the things about this episode that I almost felt like I was going through a fever dream at certain points.
Fair.
Like if you would have talked to me the moment the first episode was over or the first time I watched it and said, oh, you actually went into a fugue state and watched 3 episodes, I would have believed you because so much stuff happens. Every storyline has the introduction, a complication, a redoubt, a twist, and then a resolution. You get like 7 storylines all in one episode. I'm like, how fast is this going? And so, like, the thing with Chuck, like, it's very clear to me, this new stepdad's coming in, laying down the law. Turns out that's not actually the case. And then Chuck says that it's about this business dealing, but then based on what they say later, I don't know if Bart's a good guy or a bad guy.
And that's pretty much every episode of Gossip Girl.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just burn through storylines.
And I think we'll probably touch more on the Bart thing later, but like you do see some different sides of Bart from episode to episode that you go, oh, he's not as bad as wait, that's dark.
Okay.
So like there are some.
Yeah. Like he's good with Eric.
He's great. Yeah. He's been a great dad to Eric. And he actually hasn't been a terrible stepdad to Serena, you know? And again, like we'll talk about like his confronting her later, which I think he did a great job. You know, he hasn't been really terrible to them. It's Serena just, you know, we'll get to that. But, but yeah, you make a good point.
In typical teenage rebellion, Serena puts on a scandalous dress and waits for Bart to get home so she can flaunt her lack of respect for his authority.
Yeah. And you see him seeing what she's doing, and he doesn't say, get back here, young lady. He doesn't say, you get in here right now. He doesn't say, I'm going to tell. He doesn't say anything. He has the conversation with her. She gets onto the elevator. She makes the comment to her stepdad about not wearing underwear.
Yeah. I mean, it landed as the joke I'm sure it was intended, but there is that dynamic that just, I could have done without that.
They do that sometimes.
Serena, though, is very sexualized, and you could tell from her character, it's never really spelled out completely, but she's been sexualized from an extremely young age.
Yeah.
And she's just used to old men creepy on her, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is she like the main character? Like, is the show kind of built around her?
It was supposed to be about a friendship between her and Blair, I think, was the original. But yeah, Chuck and Blair kind of stole the spotlight with their relationship.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I actually just saw a blurb recently that said something about how Blake Lively went into this show thinking she was going to be the star.
Well, she was the highest paid.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, but the show itself took the turn to make Blair more of the star of the show because of the romance.
Yeah. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but when Chuck was wearing the ascot, I actually hated him more.
We refer to that as his Fred look.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. The only two people I've ever seen with an ascot is Chuck Bass and Fred from Scooby-Doo.
And it fits both of them.
It does.
At the Waldorf penthouse, Blair is waiting for Chuck with drinks. Blair proposes a takedown of Vanessa. I sense some cruel intentions.
I wrote cruel intentions in my notes. Like, that is the absolute vibe I was getting from that whole thing.
She also, I feel like Gossip Girl references Shakespeare, and I want to say Macbeth, but I don't know if that's right. Because when she says that everyone ends up dead.
Yes, I didn't get that reference.
I've heard this. I've seen this before, and it made me think.
I got the whole quote here if you want me to read it.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the end of the act. Gossip Girl blast is this just in: Blair Waldorf and Chuck Bass placing a wager on the takedown of Lonely Boy's BFF. We think we've heard this story before, and we're pretty sure it ended up with everyone dead.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much every Shakespeare story.
I mean, it's every Shakespeare tragedy. It's somebody, But I felt like it was a Macbeth reference because they try so hard to make the two of them the king and queen.
Yeah.
Hey there, scandal-loving listeners. Did you ever wonder if there was a way you could support your favorite Gossip Girl podcast? Well, now there is. Just visit patreon.com/nonjudgingbreakfastpod. There are 4 tiers to choose from. Come claim your spot at the non-judging breakfast table by visiting patreon.com/nonjudgingbreakfastpod.
So we move into Act 2. The next day, Serena and Blair are at a restaurant. Serena catches the fact that Blair smiles when mentioning Chuck. Eric enters to introduce Blair and Serena to his new boyfriend, Jonathan.
Yeah, this is where I mentioned that like Blair's so transparent. Like Serena, who doesn't come across as the most perceptive person, instantly realizes that Blair, there's a Chuck thing going on.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
Which you did kind of ask earlier, and I know we kind of rushed past, but yes, I think that is intentional in the writing.
Yeah. Yeah. And directing for that matter. Yeah.
Dan has, and Eric has a boyfriend, so that's
I love
new development.
I loved
New
this
development,
scene.
yeah.
I loved Serena and Blair meeting the boyfriend and the instant approval. Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like, Eric's a good judge of character, so they're like happy for him, and you see a lot of when you see a lot of the Blair and Eric interactions, they're some of my favorites because they don't have many, but you always just kind of see this history of growing up your older sister's best friend, that relationship between them is always really heartwarming to me.
Mm-hmm. Although you did say Eric is a good judge of character. Although
I guess
like many smart people, we're not always the best judge of partner because his last boyfriend was
his last boyfriend was a piece of shit.
Yeah, well, again, you got to have drama from somewhere. So, again, this was the only episode I've ever watched. I had another context. And so I won't say that I read Eric as gay, even though like sort of the softness of his character did sort of like lean that way. But the moment he introduced the boyfriend, I was like, okay, yeah, that totally tracks with everything I've seen so far. So it wasn't shocking at all to learn that. But I too was like very happy to see that this is just accepting, tell us all about it. It was just, which again, 2007, I don't know, the world keeps changing, but I'm glad that this wasn't like a scandalous sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, and he was outed in an earlier episode.
At the end of season 1.
And it looked for a second like it was going to be sort of a scandal, and then they end up having a really great moment with his mom, because Lily, the mom, really reacted badly at first. Mm-hmm. But it was because it was just kind of dropped in her lap and she didn't know how to react. But it was a really great how it played out. They've always been super accepting of him.
Good.
Dan has suddenly become the lax bro from episode 5. It's regaling Jenny of tales of glory from the soccer field. Dan, in response to some teasing about his lack of guy friends from Jenny and Rufus, calls Nate to ask him about a mandate. They aren't the Kents, but I do love the Humphrey family dynamic when they are happy. I wrote the Kents in there for you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, the one character that we get like nothing from, I think, is that Dan's sister,
Jenny.
Yeah,
Jenny.
This is a small episode for her, but yeah, the next ring of episodes are going to be very Jenny heavy.
Okay, yeah, she was like kind of like a nothing character, and then the father is Rufus. Again, my Gilmore Girls analogy, he's the Luke type, but not really. But I guess that's the closest I could get.
Yeah. I mean, he's generally the moral compass of the show. Yeah, he's a former '90s rock guy. He's from
number 9 on the top 10 list of most forgotten bands of the '90s.
Yeah.
is
Rolling Stones magazine's top 10 forgotten bands of the '90s.
I mean, better than the 11th place.
Exactly. And also, I love just something you probably would have heard about. Cedric is a Cabbage Patch Kid.
I Googled it. I'm like, what's going on? I was like, who is Cedric? And then so
Cedric is Dan's Cabbage Patch Kid that has been a running joke since season 1.
Have you watched The OC at all?
When it first came on, I think I watched like part of the first season, but I have not kept up with it. I don't remember anything about it.
And that's also by the same showrunner.
Okay.
Do you remember the Seth character?
Sort of.
And Adam Brody?
Yeah, okay, yeah. I remember Adam Brody character.
He's on Gilmore Girls as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's kind of Josh Schwartz's insert on that show.
Okay.
And his love interest on that show, they both had like plastic dolls. Or plastic horses. And so I think on this show, they were trying to set that up with him and Blair, but then Blair and Chuck got really popular, so they didn't do that.
Gotcha. Okay.
So like, yeah, it's a weird thing about the show. The overall writing is not great, but they do put all of these little teeny things in there. Like they're almost good writers.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like they put all these little nuggets.
They
They have
have-
obscure references and
They should be writing teachers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they should be, because they know the tricks of writing. You know, they know they know the game of writing, and they have moments of greatness. There are moments of greatness, but a lot of it really is like when they start trying to write smart characters, it gets a little dicey.
Yeah.
Vanessa is at the bar that she is trying to save along with Horace, the owner of the bar. They are discussing the situation with Chuck, who pulls up in his limo. Chuck says he is here to save the day. When someone throws a slushie at Chuck, he gets in his limo and hightails it out of Brooklyn.
Yeah, that whole scene was kind of weird. Like I looked up a few things about the show, the budgets, and they filmed in New York. It's very expensive to film there, but that scene felt cheap. And I think as Horace comes out, he goes, "Oh, good turnout, V." There's like 6 extras just sitting there with nothing about that felt big or even real. It felt all staged, and it felt almost more like a play than a show. That scene for some reason just stood out to me as weird.
They do tend to try to make Brooklyn feel poor. Like they try to make any scenes in Brooklyn feel a little more
Drab.
Yeah.
And the next scene, we get Lily and Serena arguing about the new rules. Serena says she won't be coming to the party tonight. Still thinking it's from Bart.
Yeah. Lily,
Right.
and Lily should have started parenting a long time before this. And it kind of goes back to what I said in the first scene about dropping new rules, is that you just can't start parenting like now, and I don't know if you have kids.
I do.
Yeah. I have 3 teenage plus. I have a 20-year-old, 18-year-old, and a 17. And I also taught for many years. And this kind of brings my teacher brain around to where it's like the middle of October and you realize that you have some kind of routine that is way off and you go to try to fix it. If you tell 30 teenagers, no, we're doing something different starting tomorrow, they're not going to respond well to that. You coming in and being like, this is a new thing starting right now and you're going to change your behavior now. No teenager responds well to that.
Dan shows up at Nate's house and finds an eviction notice. For some reason, Dan decides to just go right in and sees evidence that Nate might be squatting in his own home.
Yeah. In a show that is sort of based around the idea that somebody somewhere has access to information that people don't want to know and it gets out publicly, there is no way that Nate's situation would not be known in that school in 12 hours. Like that was like the most unrealistic thing in this episode to me, is that no one knows this yet.
Wow, that's it's really funny that I didn't even think of that. But that is so true. A notice on his door, like no one is not going to notice a sign on his door.
Yes, no one is visiting Nate.
Yeah.
Chuck goes to Blair and tells her that the deal is off. Blair ups the stakes to keep Chuck in the game. Careful, B. One thing about making a deal with the devil, he always comes to collect.
I think this is where I wrote cruel intentions in my notes, like that with the I will put my body on the line for this other thing. That's straight out of that.
Yeah. And this is also where you really see that first interaction where Blair's like, my body wants you, but my brain is too smart for that. So now you see that Blair, scheming is Blair and Chuck's
foreplay,
breathing. Yeah. And foreplay. And so for Blair to be like, hey, if I make this transactional, it's her brain finding the way to give her body what it wants.
It's like any addiction sort of thing. Like you're justifying, well, I'm out with my friends, so I will engage in this activity.
Yeah.
Or, whatever the excuse is that our bodies will, our minds will find a way to give us what our body wants. Yeah, and therapy. Go to therapy. Therapy's good. Go to therapy.
Blair has been in therapy.
She needs to go more often.
Oh, yeah, for her bulimia.
For bulimia, yeah.
Specifically for eating disorder.
Yeah. That just made me think of it. And in the previous season, we learned that Blair has an eating disorder, so she does see a therapist for that.
All right. Well, I'm very happy about that.
Yes.
I don't want to make light of that.
No, and it actually makes her a very sympathetic character in certain when you see certain lights of it. But
a lot of pressure from her mom, and also from just not intentionally from Serena, but just Serena being who she is.
Yeah,
which is the person everyone loves.
Right, exactly. Yeah, just like effervescently beautiful.
yeah.
Naturally, no effort.
Exactly.
And
That's not true either. But
and her family was wealthy, whereas Blair's mom has had to, well, they're Waldorfs, but she did have to like build up this.
In the show, they're not the Waldorfs.
Oh, okay, all right, they're just Waldorfs.
Yeah, just random name.
so I did have a question about that, because when Chuck goes to visit Blair, I was a little bit confused about where that was. So that was Blair's house, home, apartment.
Yes. So they
Because the way it was staged, it was like it was in a hallway, but there was a table set up with drinks and there was no one there. It felt really weird.
Yeah, that's one of the sets that it's a recurring set for Blair's house. It's like a foyer, essentially. They do a lot of times when people would like come to like confront her or something. So that the show loves that, like people just show up at a place to have a conversation.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it's always off an elevator.
Yeah,
Because they all have elevators to their penthouses, which
That
is really
is the epitome of rich, is when you have an elevator that goes to your house.
yeah. And I don't know how people stay mad that long on an elevator. Like I mean, like I get if you're like stamping upstairs, like you can keep that momentum going. But if I'm sitting still that long in an elevator, I'm not hot by the time it dings. It's just, what was I here for?
Yeah. Blair and Serena are discussing Lily's past husbands. We hear Lily was married to German Klaus with a K, but dated Klaus with a C longer.
Yeah, I do think, again, talking about the writing, that's actually pretty good writing. And I don't know if we ever saw that in other episodes.
Nah,
this was just
all
an anecdote.
Pre-show. This is all pre-show.
Okay.
So this
But
is
the
like
idea that they're
introducing lore to the world.
two Klauses, K and C.
Yeah.
Sorry. But anyway, I really like the writing of that scene. It sells exactly what we need to know, tells us everything we should learn, does it in a funny and interesting way. So that actually very good writing in my opinion.
Yeah.
Throughout the show, we get little bits and pieces about Lily's past relationships. They just drop little blurbs like that throughout the show.
Yeah, and this is the most that we get in one sitting too. Because we've also gotten it throughout the show. We also got the conversation with Blair at one point. And
Dan and Nate are walking in the park and discussing the Vanderwoodson party. Dan discovers that Nate is all alone in the city. Poor Nate, all alone.
yeah, I feel so bad for Nate. He didn't know that Dan and Serena were done too. I remember thinking that was kind of interesting.
So that actually kind of makes sense why people don't know. Because he's kind of been keying into himself and staying low on the radar in the social circles.
Well, and I just thought because of the public shunning a few episodes ago but yeah, I was a little surprised about it. But yeah, that makes sense.
Nate's not the most observant guy.
No, he is not. Sweet cutie Nate.
We get a quick needle drop as the scene shifts back to Brooklyn, and we see Vanessa introduce Chuck to Horace. They look to be getting along.
So is Horace a regular on the show?
He's a new character. So yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's actually nice that we actually get a person of color.
Because I was like,
Is he going to be a
he
return?
felt
He comes
like,
one more episode.
Okay.
Yeah, it felt like he came in out of nowhere to me, so I
yes.
wasn't sure.
This is his first appearance, and he comes in one more time in, I want to say, season 4.
So I know you told me that we don't do spoilers, but can I ask, do they save the bar?
I don't think it's ever brought up again as far as I
Okay, perfect. That's actually the best answer to that question.
That tracks.
Yeah, I don't think it's mentioned again, as far as I can recall.
They do that a lot too. They get you really invested in things, and then they're just like, "That's all."
Yeah, I mean that bar sounds like a cool place. It's got a cool history. I hope it's still there and not a Panera Bread or whatever they called it.
The La Pan.
Quintion. I also Googled that. It's a bakery.
Yeah. When we were watching it, my wife Robin, she said, "Oh, I did." So that's how you pronounce that.
Yeah, I would have got nowhere near that.
The next scene, we see Dan calling Jenny to hatch a plan to get Nate some good home cooking.
Yeah, Dan doing some hardcore friending here.
Yeah, they're going to parent trap Nate.
Don't tell Dad, or he might handcuff him to the couch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Serena arrives home to find out that Bart disinvited Eric's new boyfriend, or so she thinks.
Yeah, it's a really bad look for Bart in this moment. It all is like it. I felt like the writing did a really great job of making Bart look like an over-controlling, demanding dad. And like you said, it wasn't that they were putting unreasonable expectations on it, but they just give you this vibe of him is asserting this control.
Yeah. Playing with the expectations.
Yeah.
Like, media literacy teaches us that the new stepfather with the new rules is going to be overbearing. And so he gives us just enough through the eyes of another character that we make assumptions. And then when we learn the truth, it's not like perfect, but it's different enough to be like, oh, okay, my expectations have been subverted. This is more interesting than just a clear one way or the other. So yeah, I also think that's pretty elegant writing, actually, the way that worked out.
Yeah. And as a dad with kids with a stepdad, I don't think Bart ever actually oversteps. And we'll get to that. But like in this case, in this very specific case.
Now, so both of you are watching this episode for the first time. Did you guys pick up on it at all before the reveal?
No.
No, I pretty much believe that Bart was controlling this because of the investment based on what Chuck had said. I believe that.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember if I picked up on it or not, but the one clue I think is Eric. Because he's always kind of like, no, I don't think it's Bart.
Well, yeah, he's the entire time he's championing Bart.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have those clues there. It's also, in a previous episode, Bart has shown Lily that he has some kind of information on her that is scandalous, that Lily doesn't want to get out, and that Bart doesn't want to get out. So we know that Bart has,
he does control information.
Yeah, he controls information, and he has had a private investigator look into his fiance, now wife.
Sure. I mean, when you're talking billions of dollars in mergers, that you're going to do your due diligence, unless you're on Smallville.
Yeah. So this is all Bart Bass is basically Trump before Trump was a politician. Yeah, because this is 2008 Trump, so he's kind of like a version of Trump.
Yeah, and often there are many times that he gives off like supervillain Lex Luthor vibes.
Yeah. Right?
He gives you those Lionel Luthor vibes.
Outside of the bar, Chuck and Vanessa are connecting, but Chuck gets a text from Blair and appears to refocus on his mission. Looks like he was wavering a little bit. He's actually kind of he definitely likes the attention and positive reinforcement.
Yeah, and I feel like Brooklyn could do a little good for Chuck. I think that and we see this in a lot of characters. It's almost like they get to Brooklyn and then they have like a soft side to them. Sometimes, like the show in.
Yeah, the show definitely goes out of its way to tell us that the Upper East Side is clearly a corrupting influence.
Yeah.
The longer you're in contact with it, the worse person you become.
Yeah, and if you're only way upper middle class and not upper class, then you can be a good person.
No, okay. Well, yeah.
At the Vanderbass party, Lily is telling her guests about her art collection. Serena confronts Bart about Eric and Jonathan. Bart each says it was Eric's decision, and I believe him.
So at that point, when Serena says that a billionaire to a teenager, a real even playing ground, at that moment, I was still siding with Serena. At that moment, I still was like, oh yeah, you had a conversation with him. how did that conversation go? How,
Yes.
I was still firmly like, oh yeah, you had a conversation with him.
Chuck and Blair have a quick scene. Blair asks for a progress report, but Chuck now seems disinterested in the mission.
Is this the scene where she was wearing the dress that Chuck had bought her? Because I think there was a scene where she was putting it on with Serena earlier. Because there's one where I'm trying to find myself in my notes here, and I know there's a scene where it's very clear she's upset that Chuck didn't respond to the dress she was wearing. I think that's the scene. I may be mixed up.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
So as we see, like, Chuck is starting to waver a little bit, but yeah, Blair's trying to reel him back in. Chuck goes to greet Vanessa. The chemistry is a bit awkward, but they definitely seem friendly.
Yeah. I think Chuck kind of saw an avenue to becoming a real boy through Vanessa. And like I think that Chuck hit Brooklyn and was like, wow, I could maybe be a little more human. And I think that he's kind of seeing that with Vanessa.
Well, when he says to Horace, that might be the nicest thing someone's ever said to him,
Right.
I think he was
I think that was
honest.
genuine. 100%.
Yeah. Bart interrupts and pulls Chuck aside. Blair and Vanessa stare daggers at each other from across the room.
Yeah, this was again where Bart as bad guy, that we have made these assumptions that he has been the bad guy in terms to the other kids and the rules, but with his own son, he does seem to be pretty much a jerk here. I mean, I don't know business opportunities. Maybe it was a bad investment, but he comes across as a jerk.
Off pre-series.
Yeah. And there are these, Chuck is constantly looking for his father's approval. And we learned in a previous episode that Chuck's mom died in childbirth or shortly after, because I don't know which one was the lie and which one was the truth. But we do know that there is hostility from Bart towards Chuck. He is always disappointed in him. And there's an episode where Serena is getting into trouble after trouble after trouble. And she says, it's not me, it's Chuck. And Bart immediately goes, yep, it's got to be.
Mm.
So that's kind of the relationship he has with him. He's constantly disappointed and always expecting Chuck to just be a fuck up.
Gotcha.
Shifting back to the loft, it looks like Humphrey game night is in full swing. Nate is a poor lost puppy, and the Humphreys all want to save him.
I know. I have a little note that just says Humphreys with a heart. They're just so sweet. Did you recognize Jenny?
I had a flash of memory. She's a singer, right?
Yeah,
she's in a band.
Taylor Momsen.
Okay.
She's
Pretty
a singer
Reckless.
for the Pretty Reckless. She was also
Cindy
Lou Who in the Jim
okay.
Carrey Grinch That Stole Christmas.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, spoilers, but I get the feeling that there might be a Jenny Nate situation brewing if he's going to be staying there. I don't know. Don't have to tell me, but that would be my guess. I wouldn't be surprised if there's at least some sort of fling in the future.
They've definitely had a few moments so far in the show.
Yeah, there's some history there.
Nothing really romantic yet, but definitely some intimate conversations.
And inklings of Jenny at least having a crush.
Yeah.
I feel like Jenny has one of those, she doesn't know she has a crush on him, but has a crush on him kind of thing.
Okay.
Also, the actors are like 15 and 20 something at this point.
Taylor Momsen is the character's actual age, and Chase Crawford is several years older than her.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, most of them were like 18 to 22, I think, when they started shooting, except I think Eric.
The youngest was 19.
19? Blake was 19, right?
Leighton Meester.
Oh, Leighton.
All the other ones were 20 or 21.
Yeah. But Eric and Jenny were their actual ages, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And their characters are, again, 2 years younger than the other characters. So,
yeah.
There's definitely a gap there. Vanessa comforts Chuck and sparks are flying. Blair sees the interaction and she knows Chuck isn't just pretending anymore.
Yeah, I mean, Chuck had a good proposal. Chuck did the work. And
And Bart just shut it down.
Yeah, just to shut it down. Just to make him disappoint people.
Serena is talking to Eric, and Eric is not nearly as anti-Bart as her. Some reporters come over and start asking Serena and Eric questions about the family. Lily comes over for some Spin City, and I think the light bulb is finally starting to go the light over Serena's head.
So Lily doesn't seem to be the best mom, but she's also terrible at public relations. If she thinks for a moment that this was a good idea, like that should have been a more controlled environment. You don't let reporters just ask your kids questions like that.
Yeah.
No, that was a failure in so many regards.
Yeah. I do like that they get the resolution to the Eric conversation here, where Eric's like, no, this was my choice. Like, this isn't how I wanted this to go down. Like, I wanted this to come out on my terms and not on mom's terms. And that was a very mature decision of him.
Very, yeah. When you hear that side and you see that was like he had agency in that decision.
Yeah.
It is such a much, it's like, that's beautiful in a way. Yeah. It's great versus the overbearing, dominant, Midwestern values.
Yeah, you're going to make me look bad. Yeah.
Yes.
Looks like the best housewarming just got a little colder. Serena walks down memory lane as they're heading out the door. And we move into Act 3. Blair is trying to call off the bet with Chuck. Blair's passion for Chuck lays dormant for a few episodes while she's feuding with Serena, but they appear to be fully awakened again. Chuck seems to be catching on too, as Blair is being fully transparent in her feelings. The show goes through storylines fast. But the last few episodes, this was not really brought up at all because she was in the middle of a fight with Serena. But they meet up in the last episode, so now she can go back to lusting after Chuck.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, you got to put, everything's compartmentalized.
Yeah.
So now that's, yeah.
And then I love that she gets jealous of Vanessa. And doesn't really need to be. I don't think that there was really sparks there. There was just Chuck was like, someone was actually talking to me like a human.
Right.
And
yeah,
I think the show was trying to write it that there was sparks, but I just think the actors didn't have the chemistry.
Fair.
It came across as, I thought you were a disgusting piece of garbage, and it turns out you're just a bad human being. Like that's the progress that went.
Yeah.
It's not romance in on the horizon.
Yeah. I've been saying since the end, like when Leaf is asking predictions, and I've been pretty much saying since the end of season 1 that my number one prediction is that they're all going to bang at some point. At some point.
Yeah. It transitions to euphoria at some point.
Eric helps Lily realize she is oblivious and an absentee mother.
He's the most mature Vanderwoodson.
This is actually my scene of the episode. The acting and scene was really good.
It might be his best that he's done.
Yeah. The Since You've Been Gone was your ringtone, was like chef's kiss.
Yeah. And I love because Lily goes to Eric because she knows that Eric will tell the truth.
Right.
And when she pushes back and he's like, hey, I'm going to show you why. It's funny because I forgot to mention that earlier scene where they mentioned how they said that they would go to the Waldorfs or the Archibalds, and they would alternate who they would go to.
Wouldn't figure it out.
So they wouldn't figure it out. And she's like, we figured it out, but we didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Dan and Rufus are having a conversation in the loft. I am so surprised that Rufus is giving good advice to Dan. Total shocker.
Solid dadding. Some solid dadding.
Yeah.
The phrasing was a little kind of off.
Yeah, but I mean, he didn't write it.
Back at the party, Blair has stolen Vanessa's phone and deleted the blackmail evidence. Blair also haughtily reveals her the bet. Vanessa momentarily defends Chuck before realizing she has egg on her face. After Vanessa leaves, Blair admits defeat and tells Chuck to come claim his prize. So this is kind of what I was saying, how I thought Vanessa, they were trying to write it as if Vanessa was attracted to him.
Yeah.
It just wasn't reading on the chemistry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't thought there was any chemistry there. I also, again, this was 2007, 2008. The cloud existed, right? So just because Blair deleted that picture off of B's phone doesn't mean that picture doesn't exist in 7 other places. So I just thought that was it's not as goofy as like I'm rerouting through the subnet hacking you see on TV, but that's also nonsense that take her phone and now the picture's gone. That's silly.
Well, I mean, it is the they don't have iPhones. So that technology was out. It was out in the real world, but the writers hadn't really discovered it yet.
So maybe V didn't know, but there were kids in 2007 would know how to get that picture
on the
a different
internet.
way. On the internet, it would be there forever or something.
The real estate was just foreplay. I like that quote from
Yeah.
Poor Chuck Bass. You made your bet. Now you have to lie in it.
Yeah, and also what you had brought up earlier, Michael, about Blair's transparency, and here she gets to the point where it's like, well, I have to change the rules of the bet to sleep with you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So like now your goal has just all been, shown. You showed your cards.
And we move into the epilogue. Dan finds Serena sitting alone outside of Nate's place. Maybe these two can finally find some common ground.
Yeah, I was confused on this to begin with. I thought that Serena was outside like her apartment, like just on the street, but they were at Nate's. I was confused of where that took place.
Yeah, it's outside Nate's.
So Serena and Nate have probably the closest thing to an honest friendship between any of these characters. They slept together before the series started, and that was another big piece of the pilot episode and the early episodes of the series.
Okay.
And it has come to a point where they have just become two people that can actually talk to each other.
Okay.
They don't always have that from the other people in their life.
Okay. So yeah, I watched the episode 3 times, and I was like, each time I thought it was a different place, but I never felt secure in what I knew. So I was a little bit confused as to where that happened. But I could tell there was a history between those two characters, Serena and Nate.
Mm-hmm.
But without the context, I didn't know for sure what was going on.
Yeah.
Now, on this watch through, I've found that I've been more annoyed by Dan than ever before.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm like going through scene by scene. Because like in this scene, like initially he's like super pissed off at Serena and like being all prissy and to her, and then as soon as she seems sad, he's like, "Oh, let me save you, Serena. Let me save you."
Oh, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but let's also just flip to Dan. Dan tries to be a good dude. Serena really did fuck with him by having the entire school ignore him, right? Like,
He was a dick to her, though.
he was, but he has reason to be upset with her, and she has reason to be upset with him. And so for him to see her and be irritated, I get that. But also to see someone that you loved, that you were in a relationship with, who does say to you, like, go ahead, give it to me. It can't get any worse. That's gonna shake you, you know? I would have done the same thing. I would have been as annoying as Dan.
Yeah, it just kind of illustrating his tendency to want to be a white knight.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's always been in his.
And yeah, past watch throughs when I'm not paying such quite attention to this thing, it hasn't annoys me as much, just because I enjoy Penn's acting
Mm-hmm.
and I find him witty.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been more annoyed with Dan than I've ever been before.
Mm.
Chuck comes to the Brooklyn bar to apologize to Horace, who isn't having none of that. A despondent Chuck leaves. However, we see Vanessa lurking in the shadows, a clear signal that this storyline isn't over yet.
Or, I mean, you said they don't go back to the bar, so maybe.
The bar storyline is over, but the Chuck and Vanessa thing.
Okay.
It's not like this was Chuck's fault.
No.
Like his
It wasn't.
dad pulled the deal,
Yeah.
and Horace is just shitting on him.
Serena and Dan have an honest conversation. If only they could have done this when they were dating. Nate catches a stray from Serena. Bart pulls up in a limo to give Serena a ride home.
Yeah, I love that she gives this deep advice, and she responds with, "I thought you were going to pretend to be Nate." Nate has been repeatedly shown as just being a himbo on the show.
Oh, okay.
He's he gets great grades, but he's not really the smart character.
He's not a scholar.
Yeah, like
He's just not observant.
He's not observant. Well, he's also not a scholar in this. He hates reading. He hates that kind of stuff.
And another little consistent piece of writing from the show. Here we see when Bart pulls up, "Hello, Daniel." All the Upper East Side parents of the show throughout the run, they always use the full names.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the only one who says Dan, Nate.
Yeah.
The Upper East Side parents are always Nathaniel, Daniel,
Yeah.
Charles.
The first time Lily said, "Oh, Charles."
We rip on the writing a lot, so I'll give him some props on that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Back at the Vanderbass apartment, Lily apologizes to Serena and Eric for abandoning them for large chunks of their childhood. Serena also apologizes to Lily and Bart for her behavior over the past few days. Looks like we have a happy Brady Bunch moment. Everyone's here and accounted for, except someone's missing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no Chuck in this scene.
Yeah.
He's got other things to take care of. The whole sitting on the floor eating the cake, it felt like an after school special sort of thing. Like, like all the problems have been solved. I know they aren't, but the way it felt. But the one thing that really stood out to me was the way they kind of laughingly joked about Bart killing the story. Like the idea of like catching and killing stories to keep you out of the public eye is not like a knee slap. That's not, that's not a good thing to be laughing about. I thought it was weird.
Right. And it's funny because in 2008, the attention wasn't there on something like that. Like I feel like today there's such a heightened awareness for that type of activity just because of the different media climate.
This is just like killing a magazine article.
Yeah. Well,
right.
I'm just saying in general, the thought of like rich people killing an article didn't, I don't think that was really like, I can't find my words for it, but
no, but I mean, I agree with you. Like, at a high level, it's sort of like the funny thing, but if you think about it granularly, there are reporters that it's their job to write a story, and they are now probably being pressured by an editor. We will fire you if you run this story. So this party you went to, you got free food, but now you got to do a different story. Like, it's actually kind of awful what the reporters would have had to have gone through in that real experience. So make it so lighthearted. At least in 2024, that stuck out to me like a sore thumb.
Well, and getting that kind of pressure often is very, you're right. It's really putting people in a very bad position, and they are just laughing it off.
Right. Yeah. It's just ha. So, yeah.
Oh, we're so rich we can control the media. Ha 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 ha.
Okay. So one thing we've actually been talking about a lot in the middle of the first season was the 2008 writer strike, which also happened on Smallville. So
yeah, I'm right in the middle of the writer strike season right now.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It ruined so many
what
shows.
What is that on Smallville?
7.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that was a big change, but the other big change that kind of happened in the real world that's affecting the writing, I think, also is the recession. It was in 2008, and so Josh Schwartz's first show, The OC, kind of brought in a wave of shows like that. Yeah, Laguna Beach and a bunch of other shows glorifying the rich, but now suddenly people are not really thinking as highly as the rich because you got Occupy Wall Street starts around that time, and so I think they kind of shifted into showing these people just as being horrible people, and let's just watch them be horrible people and destroy each other.
Yeah.
Where in the first season they were trying to like lean into the heart of the show, and Dan Serena's relationship was the focus, and Serena was trying to overcome her troubled past. But yeah, now in season 2 they're really kind of just leading into the craziness of doing horrible things.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like we've mentioned before, that they have this juxtaposition of if you're rich, you'll do terrible things, and if you're less rich, you won't. or
you'll do less terrible things.
Or you'll do that. and you even see Jenny's character, the more she tries to get in with the rich crowd, the more terrible she becomes. And that was like, she got to be diabolical in the first season because of that. Going from being like this super sweetheart. Now she's back to a sweetheart. So I'm waiting for her to be diabolical again because that was fun.
Wait till you see the preview for next week. Looks like Nate is coming to stay at the Humphreys after all. Yay.
Good for Nate.
That's
Though I
sweet,
will say 2-player categories is terrible. Never play categories of 2-player. You need at least 3 because otherwise, the whole game is built upon the uniqueness of answers. If you only have 2 people, it just doesn't work right.
Right. Well, I'll get the guitar in the 80s fake book. How about Wham?
Rufus.
And that's kind of, I was trying to figure the Wham reference, like Wake Me Up Before You Go. What were the other, like, I can't see why Wham would have been.
They're just happy. It's happy.
Yeah, that's fair.
Happy music.
The 80s fake book.
Yeah. Chuck and Blair start to go at it, but Chuck demands an I love you. But now Blair is the one who isn't ready to say it, so Chuck puts on his coat and leaves. Just like the seasons, people have the ability to change. It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it's almost always right. Sometimes it takes what's broken to becoming whole again. Sometimes it takes opening up to new people and letting them in. But most times, it's just one person who is truly afraid to show what they feel, getting an opportunity they never thought possible. And some things never change. Let a new game begin. XOXO Gossip Girl. And that is the episode.
Say those 3 words to me.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? I love that.
Yeah. So yeah, the beginning of the season, Blair demanded that Chuck say, because end of season 1 it looked like they were going to get together, but Chuck the last minute ditches her, and so at the beginning of season 2, Blair, like, to get like, if he wants to be with her, he has to say I love you.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't. She goes off with the dude.
The Lord.
Gotcha. The line, if you thought that was long, you have no idea what you're in for, made me hate Chuck worse. More. I hated him more as the episode went on.
Yeah. So again, watch the pilot. He's awful from the get.
Okay.
But I mean, those type of the pilot is not pretty, but those type of lines are actually what makes him a popular character.
Yeah, but I think I think one of the reasons he's popular is that he's fun to hate. But then the other reason he's popular is because it's the sexy bad boy, dark.
Yeah, you want to fix him. Like, even in this episode, like, it turns out he did kind of want to help the bar. He did get some, like, maybe fulfillment from this father figure in some way, like treating him like an equal. He doesn't get that from Bart, but it's not enough he didn't change his character, but there's enough for someone who, if you're really into the show, to think, well, maybe there is a trajectory where, it's very much a Lex Luthor situation where, like, we know he's a bad boy. We know it's going to go wrong, but maybe we could fix it.
Yeah.
So any predictions?
I have a question first. Was Victor Victrola episode 7?
Yes.
Okay. That lines up so well. So Victor Victrola is an episode where Bart does buy a bar. It also has very similar Bart and Chuck themes going through it.
Yeah.
Okay. With Chuck, and so it's not just. It's interesting that it wasn't just the Chuck and Blair thing, but also the Chuck and Bart thing as well. A little bit. I am predicting Jenny's about to get her hat back in the ring. It sounds like. I'm also predicting some more back and forth between Chuck and Blair. And I'm interested to see what happens with Jenny and Nate now that they're cohabitating.
That would be my big prediction, is that there will be a romance, at least if not kindled, hinted at with those two if they're in the same house.
What about Dan and Serena? Are they going to get back together again?
I honestly, I think they will eventually, but I don't feel like it. I feel like it would be a mistake to do it this soon. I don't think that they're.
How many seasons did this show run?
6.
Okay, yeah, they're not getting better. They will get back together, but not till like season 5 or something.
Yeah,
they broke up at the end of season 1, and they got back together in the second episode of season 2.
Kind of first episode of season 2. Like,
the very end of the episode, they got back together. They were together for like 2 episodes, and they broke up again.
Yeah. I feel like both of them need to sleep with someone else before they get back together.
Well, Nate love triangle. Now Dan and Nate are roommates now.
Oh,
get a sweet love triangle going on.
Yeah.
So that is the episodes. We will move into some segments. We jumped into the Wayback Machine to check out This Week in Fandom.
Hello there, Peabody here. And this is the Wayback Machine for traveling through time. And this is my boy, Sherman. Speak, Sherman. Hello. Good boy.
We went back to the Television Without Pity forums from 2008. Get some very positive reactions to the Humphreys in a while. Everyone kind of liked them this episode.
Okay.
They're normally kind of hated in fandom.
Really?
Yeah.
The fandom tends to lean into the rich folks and tend to just kind of go along with the rich folks.
Yes. Except for the most hardcore of Chuck boys, people like Nate and Dan's interactions. I can almost hear the patter of keyboards typing up /fanfic. Yeah, a lot of people were talking about, like, is this a romance or a bromance?
Right, yeah.
Because, yeah, they were very cute together.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the few Chuck boys were like, oh, Dan doesn't deserve it. Nate needs to go back and worship the altar of Chuck, basically.
Oh.
Vanessa is still the worst, so no shocker there.
Yeah. Always. She got worse. Blackmail.
Yeah, this is her
This is her
this
work.
is her actually being a bad person. Like, before, she was just kind of annoying because so she was just kind of forced into the show because she has no real reason to interact with all these rich kids other than she was childhood best friends with Dan. So
that was I guess that question I had is I wasn't sure how she circled everything because she seemed to be an outsider.
Yeah,
She is.
and so right from the beginning, even though like at the beginning she seemed like she's kind of a good person, or at least they were kind of trying to say she was, but everything was forced with her because she had no real place in this world, so she was automatically hated by the audience. Now they're gonna just lean into it because she's already hated, so now she's gonna start being bad too and a hypocrite.
Yeah. Look, one of the things that came up a lot is when Michelle Trachtenberg was on the show, she actually made Vanessa look better.
Oh,
like that's where Michelle Trachtenberg was on the show, because she was pretending to be someone she wasn't and lying to Vanessa and Dan. And Vanessa was super likable in the scenes where they were together.
oh, gotcha.
And then she'd leave and be like, oh, I hate her.
People were very happy that Eric has a boyfriend.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
And they're glad they're avoiding the same sophomore slump the OC had. So the OC, they decided to try and shake things up by bringing in new characters, but on this show, they're kind of reshuffling.
We got Horace.
But not romantic purposes. They're
It's early. It's early.
Oh, God.
I mean, Lily, it's only a matter of time before she goes somewhere else.
Yeah, Lily is going to need another husband eventually.
Yes.
Yep.
I wasn't the only one that noticed Chuck missing from the family moment at the end there.
Sorry, I need to add that that's not the Brooklyn bone she's looking for.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. So, they didn't really touch on it on this episode, but Lily and Rufus have a past.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay then.
So they dated like before any of the kids were even born.
Well,
And then they also,
questionable.
oh yeah, I mean, yeah, they dated
They dated in the
20 years
90s.
before the show started, before the show started, well before the show started.
When his band was touring,
Yes.
they were dating.
Gotcha.
And then they had a little kind of thing last season, but then
The
she
night
decided
before
to
the
marry.
wedding.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
But then she decided to marry Bart anyways, because it was really weird, because Rufus wanted to date her, but didn't want to get married, but she really wanted to get married right then. So
And
she
Bart-
married,
And Bart, we were pretty sure, knows.
yeah.
Like,
Oh,
Bart
okay.
went to her the next day and was basically like, hey, I have this old apartment that I keep for nostalgia, and I'm thinking I should let it go. What do you think? And she's like, yeah, I think you should let it go. And like, as if to say, like, I'm ready to move on.
right. Yeah.
People were wondering, since Lily was such an absentee mother, where was the dad? Why couldn't he have come back and take care of the kids?
We've never heard anything about the actual father. Sperm donor?
Mm.
Are they related to my wife?
Have they given us Lily's real last name yet? Her maiden name?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait. Has Cece...
Yeah, Cece's name. So yeah, because they introduced Cece as Rhodes.
They
So-
do. Yeah. It's
So we
Cece
know,
Rhodes.
so we know that's not
So Vander Woodson is
Not
not her...
maiden name.
I'm gonna have to make an assumption here now that I'm just putting that together. I'm going to assume that their father is dead. Because if their dad is dead, that gives more reason for her not to change her name. And like, even after being married several times, she kept her name.
Well, I think we've talked about this because we talked about your mom, how she never changed her name.
Right, but she was never married again, too. Yeah. So she married it after she changed her name to Krutzik for her first husband and Marchand, but after the divorce, she never changed it. And the fact that Lily has, I mean, because like,
she never went back though.
Yeah, Lily never went to any other name other than Vanderwoodson.
Yeah.
So that kind of tells me that the dad died and left the estate to them, and that a lot of the money is in that estate. Not that Cece doesn't also have her history.
I was also curious about the money. Like, is Lily, does she have money, or was it from the other?
Yeah,
from
so
the marriage.
She was rich from birth. Her mother, who we met in season 1. That's Cece who we're talking about. Is the
okay. Gotcha. Okay.
She's really rich, and then she's also married 3 other guys who are presumably rich as well.
Well, because that was the thing, is like, if just the big picture, if you have this widower who is very wealthy and she keeps marrying other guys, I feel like she's being fleeced. Like, people are seducing her, trying to get married, taking their cut of the billions and then running. But she obviously has enough money that either that's not the case, or those people have their own money too. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's kind of implied that all her husbands have been wealthy.
Yeah. And Lily, and mostly because Lily left Rufus in the first place. Well, she left him for Trent Reznor, but
well, not really. That was just the excuse she gave. But yeah, that's what Rufus always thought.
Yeah.
And then early in season 1, we find out that actually
she was threatened to be cut off.
Cece threatened to disinherit her.
Yeah.
Classic.
And then after that, she only dated billionaires. Like, they make many comments about how she only marries billionaires.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last point from this week, Chuck and Blair are hot. Everyone liked their steamy scene.
Yeah.
So we can go ahead and move into some episode grades. Steve, you are up first this week.
So I actually really liked this episode a lot. I really liked the storytelling and the backstories that we got in it. I actually gave this one an A-. The big knock for me was Vanessa suddenly just being a blackmailer. Like just Vanessa completely shifting her character to being just as bad as everybody else. I really didn't like that. But outside of that, I really liked the way that these stories were told in this episode. So I went A-. I usually don't go into the A's, but I went A- on this one.
How about you, Michael?
So obviously I have nothing to compare it to as far as this is the only episode of this show I've ever watched. Hard to compare it to other shows and other genres. So I want to go with just a straight down the line B. I did enjoy parts of the episode. There were parts that were pretty well written. I like how quickly it moved. Like, that was one of my fears, is that, nothing ever actually changes. It seems like things change a lot in this show, so I could see how it would become compelling, but without anything else to grade it against, B for me.
I actually went a little bit lower on this one. It was a good episode. It was but it was not a great episode, so I gave it a B-. The directing was pretty good. The writing was solid. The acting was solid, but it definitely wasn't a standout episode for me.
That's fair.
It was definitely a mid-season kind of transitionary, because we kind of went through the whole Serena Blair fight in the beginning of the season, and I think now we're kind of transitioning to this, what's going to happen through the mid-season.
Okay.
Moving into Stockwatch. Steve, who do you got going up this week?
Okay, going up, I had Dan and Nate for, the brohood. The Humphreys in general should just get a nod, but I'm really giving it to Dan and Nate. Mm-hmm. Then I'm also giving it to Eric. Eric really deserves a lot of upstock here for just being the solid brother. Eric has a boyfriend. Like, that's awesome for Eric. So I had those 3. Those 3 are my only ups, actually.
Michael, what about you?
So up, Eric, again, precious boy, protect him at all costs. I have up for Nate.
Yeah.
Because asking for help can be hard, particularly if you are in a slightly different socioeconomic stratosphere. So kind of like going down maybe to Dan's level. I'm sure that was hard for him. He rejected it initially, came around, So I think he's on the up. And then
we'll come back
I
to that.
down. Do you want to do
What
down
you
there?
know, I
or what
will
we
add,
do?
since you didn't really
Okay.
know this. Nate's mom is currently staying in their Hamptons estate, so it's not as bad as it's painted.
Oh,
Yeah, it's really funny because there's an earlier episode
Gotcha,
where
okay.
they were like, you know, where Nate's like, oh, I'm gonna fix this, and like all this stuff is happening, and it's like, yeah, like it's so horrible that you have been, you know, sent to the Hamptons to the family estate instead of your Upper East Side home. Like, you poor thing.
So his name is Nate Archibald, but his mother is a Vanderbilt of the real life Vanderbilts, and this is before they actually lost all their money.
so okay.
That's actually fairly recent.
Oh, nice.
I didn't know they did.
I mean, they're still wealthy, but they've lost. They're not generational wealthy anymore.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they didn't teach their kids good. They did a lot of gambling and other stupid stuff with their money. And yeah, after 5 or 6 generations, that
Yeah, that goes away.
but it did take a while.
happens.
Yeah,
Yep.
they were stupid for a
it
few
was
generations.
generational wealth.
So moving on to down. What do you got? Oh, actually, my ups.
Yeah,
I've
your
got-
ups.
Yeah, my ups. So I had Nate, Dan, Jenny, Rufus as well. I had Bart going up because it looked like he was being a bad guy, but he was actually being a good guy. And I know you Michael, you didn't like he killed the story, but that's just kind of part of the show. We're supposed to accept that. That's not really a bad thing. That's a good thing.
I almost gave Barton up, but the Chuck stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
I just hate Chuck. So I don't care.
Yeah.
Eric, obviously he goes up, and I also gave Horace an up, even though he looks like he's gonna lose the bar. I mean, it's just good to have him on the show. I thought he was a cool guy.
Yeah. My only backup to what you said though is like maybe Chuck wouldn't be such a piece of shit if his dad would just hug him.
Yeah.
Just give the kid a hug.
Right.
You're falling for that's what the show's trying to do. How do you-
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, it's not like I don't have my daddy issues. So going down, right? Going down, I have Serena. You made yourself look like an asshole. I have both Chuck and Blair going down for losing it. Well, yeah. Well, yeah.
Sorry.
Literally at some point, but currently I had Lily
Yeah.
also is on my down list, and then Vanessa. I actually forgot to write her down, but then yeah, Vanessa is like my major. Yeah.
Michael, what about you?
So I have Blair again, just so transparent. Everything she's trying to do is everybody sees what's happening, and then she ultimately doesn't get what she wants. So I definitely had her on Stock Watch going down. I didn't have Vanessa originally, but with the context you have added this episode, I will add her because I didn't know what the context was for her. I just thought that's who her character was. But if you're telling me that this is a departure, that she's just suddenly doing like the blackmail stuff,
Yeah.
then I will put her on down.
In
as
an
well.
earlier episode, someone was tried to like buy a different tape off of her, and she had the access to blackmail. I guess she kind of did blackmail Blair, but not really because she just gave her the tape.
Yeah.
Like she had evidence of Blair doing something, and she just gave Blair the tape after Chuck paid her like $50,000 for it.
And he gave her a fake tape.
And she gave him a fake tape and then gave Blair the real one, and donated the money to a herpes charity for women who have slept with Chuck Bass.
For me going down, I had
Nice.
Chuck and Blair because they both were scheming and it kind of blew up in their faces and they didn't get what they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Vanessa, for the same reasons you guys had, she's taking a turn for the dark side. And also Serena because, she was just kind of stupid throughout the episode.
Yeah, all of that.
But here's the best outfits from the last episode we've seen.
Moving on to best outfit. Steve, who you got?
The slushy suit was. I love that the green
Mint.
shirt, that mint shirt. I just thought it really popped. I love that first outfit, the non-ascot outfit of Chuck's. I also want to give a shout out to Horace's shirt.
Yeah.
I loved that shirt.
What about you, Michael?
So just a quick word again. I hated everything that Chuck wore, especially the ascot and the smoking jacket. But I actually thought Vanessa's outfit at the
Yeah.
party.
I like that too. For me, though, it was Blair's black polka dot dress with the pearls that she wore in the first act.
I almost picked that one. That was actually one of the ones that I started to pick. I love that dress, and again, like part of it is the accessories. Like they always accessorize her so well.
And of course, Blake's dress or Serena's dress for horny reasons.
Yeah. Like the opening scene where she's wearing like a purple sequins vest, a loose tie, and then it was the weirdest.
Yeah, like they have like
a
general outfit, and they're allowed to accessorize like as much as they want. It seems like.
Yeah.
Not that they ever go to class.
Yeah.
No.
Well, when Serena shows up in the suit later,
clearly
too,
not
without anything under it, and I love that we didn't really. I kind of touched on Bart's reaction to that. I was like, "Hey, I'm glad the suit fits." Like, I'm not trying to change you.
That is it for some segments. All we have left is some plugs. But first of all, Michael, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It was a great time.
You plug for us?
So again, the Indies will have already been over before this comes out, but if anyone is interested in a GM-less role-playing game about bad action movies and D12 dice, you can look for Action 12 Cinema. I have the podcast, The RPG Academy. It's all about role-playing games. We've been running for over 12 years. We do segments where we interview people. We do live play. We do reviews, interviews. If it's anywhere in the RPG space, we probably have episodes talking about it somewhere. And then I'm on TikTok now. I just recently started. If you search The RPG Academy, you'll find me. But my actual account is like MKR_2222. But either way, you'll get there. And if you have the misfortune of being in Dayton, Ohio in November, come to a Catacon because it's a really great convention.
Maybe like a 12-hour drive. We're in Eastern Pennsylvania.
Where are you guys at?
I think it's more like
okay. Eastern
8 to 10 maybe. To Dayton. Yeah. Dayton's like dead center Ohio.
Sort of northeast.
We're right outside of Philadelphia.
I feel like it took me 10 hours to get to Toledo. Maybe it was 12 to Toledo. Okay.
According to the map, 8 hours.
I
went to Alabama for a weekend on a road trip a couple weeks ago. So Ohio sounds lovely.
Well, if you want to drive,
yeah.
Okay.
Let me know. I know a guy. I can hook you up.
Anything you want to plug, Steve?
I don't have anything going on right now because I played my gig last night. I would like to shout out to the woman that I met after the show last night because I played every time because it's a regular set. We see Rufus play a song in season 1 and I've learned that song and I now play it whenever I play music, whenever I play a set.
Oh, nice.
And so shout out to the person who came up to me last night. I wish I caught your name, but thank you for hanging out with us.
Good. So we got a new fan.
Yeah, we've got a new fan. She promised to listen. I should have told her pick up around like episode 4, but I forgot. Because we definitely had our learning curve. But I do want to just plug my TikTok, Steve Marchand, and Steve.Marchand, TikTok and Instagram, MARCHION. And I think that's all for my plugs right now.
Well, if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm at Hot Capicola. You can follow the podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and now Threads, Non-Judging Breakfast Pod. And we are on Twitter as well as at NJB Pod. We also have a Facebook group and page. Just search for Non-Judging Breakfast Pod. And you can also check out our website, nonjudgingbreakfastpod.com. And you can find links to our Discord server.
And if you'd like to give us some comments, questions, or remarks on the episode, please feel free to email us at nonjudgingbreakfastpod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear what you have to say. We'd love to read it back here on the podcast. And we'd love for you to contribute to the conversation. So please do so and get involved with us. We'd love it.
So we will be back next week to talk about Season 2, Episode 8, Pret-a-Pour-J. The Max episode preview reads, a young model encourages Jenny's wild side.
Uh-oh. Jenny is a designer.
Yeah, I threw that one line really.
Yeah, sure.
You like school to be a designer?
At Blair's mom's fashion designing company.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be back next week. Until next time, you know you love us.
XOXO.
Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Oh, it seems I'm walking right to your door. My heart's still resting, looking for something more. Are you ever gonna see everything you mean to me? I'm trying really hard to believe. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Never feels right when I'm out here on my own. I left last night and it feels like way too long. Are you ever gonna see everything you mean to me? I'm trying really hard to believe. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Come back to me. Smile and you'll make my life complete. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away or run away, you take a piece of me with